After spending the last few days with the Stronghold 4 demo, I think Firefly may have finally done it. They may have made the first modern Stronghold game in years that generally feels like classic Stronghold. The atmosphere is fantastic, the combat feels weighty, and the siege gameplay might be the best the series has seen in a very long time. But despite all that, I do have one major concern. Because while Stronghold 4 gets a lot right, I'm worried Firefly may still be missing one of the most important parts of what made older games so special. Castle life. For me, Stronghold was never just about battles and sieges. It was about watching your castle come alive, peasants going to work, villagers getting drunk in the pub, and your lord ruling over a living medieval world. And right now, I'm not sure Stronghold 4 fully captures that. The demo includes two missions, one economic and one military. In the economic mission you build up a small castle for Lord Woolsack, and in the military mission you fend off wave after wave of attack from the Rat. So after spending a good amount of time with the demo, here are my full thoughts on what Stronghold 4 gets right, where I think it falls short, and what I hope improves before release. First up, the visuals. Visually, Stronghold 4 is easily one of the best looking games in the series. The terrain looks fantastic, cliffs feel huge and imposing, and the forests really capture the medieval England atmosphere of the original Stronghold. Trees, hills, rivers, and castle structures all feel grounded and authentic. That said, I do think the overall lighting feels a bit bright. Personally, I prefer the darker, moodier tones of the original Stronghold and Stronghold 3, so I would love to see a slightly grittier look. Castle structures generally look great and tower over units below. My only gripe is the keep. It feels a bit too small and doesn't stand out as much as I think it should. Considering it's the heart of your castle and the home of your lord, I really think it should feel more imposing. The cutscenes also look fantastic, reminding me of Stronghold 2's in-game cinematics, but massively improved thanks to Unreal Engine 5. Animations are another huge step forward. Watching peasants work in workshops is generally impressive. You can see the entire process of goods being made, which makes the castle feel far more immersive and alive. Combat also looks excellent. Units look authentic to the time period, animations are smooth, and the battles have a real sense of weight to them. I especially like how units now show visible blood on their clothes, as they take damage. It's a small detail, but it makes combat feel far more brutal and grounded. Combat animations also avoid that dual style mechanic seen in other modern strategy games, where only two units fight at once. Which I'm not a huge fan of. Instead, combat feels chaotic and believable, which suits Stronghold perfectly. Effects like fire, buildings crumbling, and physics are also fantastic. Watching ballistas blast units off cliffs looks great, and pitch igniting enemies is incredibly satisfying. My one concern is missile accuracy. Right now, missiles are extremely accurate, and rarely miss. Groups of archers also often target one specific unit, which needs to be fixed. I was personally hoping for a more classic Stronghold 1 style, where archers often missed but could fire in huge arcing volleys over walls and cliffs. Weather also returns, which I am incredibly happy about. I've always loved weather systems in games, and here it adds a lot to the atmosphere. Wildlife is another fantastic addition, birds flying overhead while deer and rabbits roam the map, making the world feel much more alive. All of this creates an incredibly immersive atmosphere, and that atmosphere is one of Stronghold 4's biggest strengths. Of course, visuals alone don't make Stronghold. Gameplay is what really matters. Overall, Stronghold 4 feels like a blend of Stronghold 1, 2 and 3, though in many ways it plays closest to Stronghold 3. Buildings are largely familiar, though there are a few additions like turnips and cheese workshops, which are now needed, as well as dairy farms to make cheese. Meat for peasants has also been removed, so thankfully no more screaming pigs.
God save us!
Now, economic management is where I have my biggest concern. My biggest disappointment with the demo is the castle management side. While Stronghold 4 brings back fear factor and random events, the castle itself feels far less alive than I hoped. There's no gong, no rats, and no crime system, and fear factor buildings feel fairly lifeless. Your lord stays atop the keep, and there's no lady or jester. Peasants don't seem to interact much with buildings either. You don't see villagers getting drunk in the pub, attending church, or engaging in the kind of daily routines that made Stronghold 2 and 3's castles feel alive. For me, that's a real shame. That living castle simulation was one of Stronghold's most unique strengths. Instead, all we really have is random events that affect popularity. Some of these are genuinely funny and charming, with events ranging from pigs standing trial to tavern brawls, while others are more serious, like disease outbreaks. The issue is that these events don't really have much visual impact. The events affect popularity, but you don't see those events happening inside your castle like you did in Stronghold 3. That for me feels like a missed opportunity. I would have loved to see more dynamic castle life. I want to see the Lord attending feasts, villagers socialising, and the castle feeling like a living medieval settlement. Right now, this part of the game feels too streamlined. Fans who dislike Stronghold 2's deep management systems may prefer this approach, but personally, I was hoping for more depth here. Where Stronghold 4 improves massively, however, is siege gameplay. Castle buildings feel much closer to Stronghold 1 again, and I think that's a huge win. Walls and crenellations are separate again, rather than merging together, and the original stair system is back. This gives castle buildings a much more classic feel. Wall destruction also feels far better than in many previous entries. Walls break apart gradually under sustained damage, rather than collapsing instantly from a single catapult hit. This makes sieges feel far more satisfying and believable. Units also attack walls with pickaxes, like we saw in Stronghold Warlords. This mechanic is buggy in the demo, as well as units just fighting in general, with units sometimes getting confused, but hopefully this gets fixed before launch.
We're confused.
One thing I noticed missing, and I really hope this is just absent in the demo, is moats. I was really hoping they would make a return. The game also doesn't feature mercenaries. Instead, all units require weapons and are recruited through the barracks, much like Stronghold 1 and 3. The recruitment interface is also clean and easy to use, and the barracks roster includes 2 interesting additions. Armed peasants return now as levy units, and there is also a new longbowman unit with greater range but slower attack rate than the standard archer. Hopefully we see more units revealed closer to release. One thing I absolutely love is unit numbers. The VAT throws huge amounts of troops at you in the military mission, and it makes battles feel properly epic. This is something Stronghold Crusader 2 and Warlord struggled with, so I'm really glad Firefly seems to have addressed it. If later missions build on this, Stronghold 4 could deliver some truly massive and memorable sieges. Beyond gameplay, the presentation is excellent. Military units have the strong accents and funny dialogue fans have come to expect from the series.
At least I can say I've lived a bad life.
And the VAT is fantastic, and feels exactly like his classic self. His taunts are funny, expressive, and full of personality. Longarm is instantly recognisable, and so is his scribe. The dialogue feels blunt, memorable, and very true to the original game. Sound design is also excellent. Weapons sound heavy and impactful, while the castle ambience helps bring the world to life. The music is also another highlight, with several returning classics helping strengthen the nostalgia. One thing I do miss though is voice lines for your peasants. Included in every game but Crusader 2, they are just something I think every Stronghold game should have. Stronghold 4 without them just makes your peasants seem like villagers in every other city builder, with no personality or humour. Hopefully Firefly will add them again before Stronghold 4's official release. Overall, I really enjoyed the demo. Stronghold 4 absolutely nails atmosphere, combat and siege gameplay. In many ways it feels closer to classic Stronghold than anything Firefly has released in years. Battles feel larger and weightier, despite unit and combat bugs that need ironing out. The sound design is excellent and the game generally feels like Stronghold again. My biggest concern is castle life. Right now that side of the game feels too streamlined and lacks the charm and depth I loved in Stronghold 2. I want to see more life inside the castle. I want to see the Lord attending feasts, villagers getting drunk in the tavern, and events having visible consequences in your castle. That side of Stronghold has always mattered just as much as combat for me, but despite these concerns I still feel very excited. If Firefly can expand on the castle management side and polish the rough edges of combat and siege warfare before release, Stronghold 4 could generally be the comeback Stronghold fans have been waiting for. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Stronghold content, it really helps the channel out. Also check out the Discord in the description and join the channel's Stronghold community, where we can discuss the game, organise multiplayer and share ideas. Thanks for watching.